What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the Mafex Superboy, one I've been looking forward to. So let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at Mafex Superboy. So let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the package. There you go. You see Superboy there. Nice little image down at the bottom. Of course, you've got your logo. So Metacom, DC, Mafex, Superman, Superboy, Return of Superman action figure. Look at the top. You get the logos there. Flip it to this side. You get a nice image of Superboy. You've got your Superman logos. Your number 232 on this one. Flip it to the back. Get a good look at some of these poses that you can do with the figure. So I like how they've got all of these sort of action poses going, show you your options, right? And since the jacket is removable, you can go with the jacketless look. You've got some alternate heads, he's got the sunglasses, so much going on, and such a nice looking figure without even getting it out of the box yet. Important information down there. Flip it to this side, you've got some logos again. And then, you know, Superboy just doing Superboy things, right? So looking cool down there. But let's get him out of the box. Fresh out of the box, we get a good look at this Superboy figure. And man, does it look good in hand. Now, I am not one to typically go all overboard for these high-end figures, right? To me, it's plastic at the end of the day, and do I want to pay premium prices for plastic? No, because the responsible individual inside of me says that's dumb. But you know, it's all dumb. It's action figures, right? It's frivolous spending at best. So when you get something that is your favorite, right? Sometimes you want to go all out, splurge a little, right? And that's kind of where my high-end collecting goes. Only to the figures, or characters I should say, that I truly love, or things that really have a fondness to me. And that boils down to Superman and Wolverine, right? And specifically Reign of the Supermen. Just something that I have such great nostalgia for and fondness from my youth. So I've got these in several lines, and I will continue to collect these in many lines, for however long they put these out. And this is no exception to that. Such a good looking figure. You do get some extra hands. You've got extra heads. You've got this soft goods jacket, which soft good clothing for me is usually something that is a huge detractor, because it often does not look good, in my opinion. It comes off a little baggy, a little big, and just doesn't have that real look to it. It looks like, you know, you're wearing your father's suit jacket or whatever. But from the images, I feel like this is not going to be the case. Of course, we'll take a look at it with the jacket, and we'll see how that goes. But so far, I am digging it. Let's take a closer look. As is typical, you do get your flight stand with these figures, and they do come with a couple of clip options as well. So you do have some display options for your stand. Moving in closer, we can get a good look at Superboy here, and you can really see the vibrant colors, right? Those reds, blues, and yellows really pop, and then you have that black just to add some subtlety and contrast to the overall design of the costume, and that really translates into an action figure. So I am certainly digging the vibrancy of this figure here. Looking at the first head sculpt, we get a nice neutral face, something just to keep it even keel, right? If you don't want super expressive, you don't want anything, kind of cool, calm, collected, I think this is a good face sculpt for that. Conversely, you get a slightly angrier expression here, something that does give you a little life for your display. Now, depending on what you want to do, how you want to display your figures, I feel like that is a good option as opposed to the more neutral face. And one thing I didn't point out here on this first sculpt, So they even get like the fade in there. The haircut looks right on point. I mean, it's just some nice detailing that is for both of these head sculpts. Earring is included as well. So just a nice touch overall. And then you've got the head sculpt with the glasses, right? And I think this is probably where I'm going for my display, just because that's how I see this 90s version of Superboy in my mind. When I'm thinking back, this is what I see. So probably most likely going to be rocking the look with the glasses. For your hands, you do get a set of fists, a set of flared hands, a set of slightly open hands, a set of wider open hands, and your set of thumbs up hands. I also want to point out that the cuffs are removable. That'll come in handy when putting the jacket on. It also covers up the ball hinge at the wrist there, which I like because for me this is not my favorite aesthetic. For your articulation, the head will look down to there, chin absolutely touching the chest. You do have a double neck, so you have the small dumbbell up in the upper portion of the neck that goes into the head, which gives you a lot of movement around at the top, but then you also get that point down at the bottom of the neck. So you get all kinds of range for your head. So if you want to move it, you've got options all day, right? What I like about that is for flying poses, things like that, these figures really give you what you like to see. And like I said, I mean, you can just move all over the place. Of course, for your arms, you do have that butterfly in there, so you are getting lots of movement back and forth. You've got range again for days there. Arms do work all the way around, of course, and then you do have your upper bicep cut. You are double jointed at the elbow there. You won't have anything at your forearm, and then you do have that ball hinge at the wrist. You do get that upper torso bell in there, which gives you, again, plenty of movement. Look, you're not going to be lacking for articulation options with these figures. That's kind of the draw, right? And then you get that bell at the bottom there too. Now, for me, what I don't like aesthetically is you do get all kinds of gaps, right? Like, that is a pretty fair critique, but again, you're not going to be posing it like that, so that won't be exposed necessarily. And it really does allow for so many options movement-wise. The belts are separate, so you can move those around however you'd like. And then as far as your legs go, that'll kick up all the way. You do have that drop down hip as well, which is significantly smoother than, say, like your Marvel Legends drop down hips, right? Legs kick back to about there, up and out to there. Nothing at your upper thigh. You are double jointed, pinless at the knee, and that knee is so smooth, man. I like that. I will say that. Nothing at the calf. You do have your hinge and swivel at the ankle, and then toe articulation as well. To get your jacket on, it slides on fairly smooth. I'm a little concerned, right? It does feel a little less expensive, right? It feels like a slightly cheap. It's like a pleather type material, but so far, I mean, it seems to be working out just fine. Slides right on. Again, I don't think that this looks too baggy, which is nice because frankly, that's always my concern when it comes to soft goods on, this scale of action figure. It's hard to really translate that, but I don't know. I feel like that doesn't look bad at all, and then because of the material, it gives you that leather look, right? So I think that's going to look good on the shelf. And then, I mean, the jacket doesn't really impede your articulation. You can still move the arms, the elbows there. They move the arms all the way around. So they did give you a pretty flexible material for this jacket, which does lend itself very well to the articulation for the figure. To to go along with the good aesthetic. For comparison, here he is backed up against our McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Superboy. Clearly no competition here. The Mafex is a far superior figure, both in scale and overall design and aesthetic. So for me, it's not even a question, okay? For few reasons, right? This isn't exactly the version of this Superboy that I wanted. I know we're going to get it eventually, but the scale too, right? That's a whole separate conversation. This Mafex is really what I'm looking for in my display. And for a more closely related figure, both in scope and scale, here's Mattel's version from several years ago. These look a lot more similar, right, in overall design. Something I like about this Mattel figure that maybe would have been a nice addition to this Mafex figure is the leg band is, it's a separate piece, right? So instead of it being part of the design and being molded in there, it does give it a little bit more life in having that extra depth to the design. So I really feel like that would have been a nice touch. But look, there's already a lot of cool things going on for this figure. Is that one little thing a big detractor? Absolutely not, right? Wouldn't even cross my mind until, comparing the two of these. So these do come in around the same height, and that really is why I like the scale of this Mafex figure. For me, this is just a better scale, but look, to each your own. All right, folks, well, there you have it. There is your Mafex Return of Superman Superboy. It's been a while. It's been a wait for this figure, but it finally arrived, and I am very pleased. Now, I would think that I should be, right? For the price that you pay for these figures, you certainly do not want to feel any sort of disappointment. So it's warranted that you should feel good about this purchase, and I do. So this is absolutely a figure I would recommend if you are into collecting these types of figures. It's not for everybody. I totally understand that. I get it. These types of figures aren't for me for the most part, but as I said at the beginning of the video, when it comes to some of my favorite things, then I gotta kind of go out and, get those to see what it's all about, right? And I like it, folks. I do. I really do. This is a nice figure. There are so many things to like about this. The articulation is there. The design is there. Even the soft goods, something that I really do not like on 1/12 scale figures, is there. I mean, the aesthetic looks good. I am absolutely here for it. So love this figure. It's going to look great on the shelf. I think I am just about complete with my Mafex Return of Superman figures. So that is also a relief, right? I am happy to say that. So looking forward to seeing how it looks on the shelf. That's it. That's the 2 cents, folks. I appreciate you checking out the video. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.